when you first got drafted in '88 to the Boston Celtics, you played one season, then went overseas and played in Italy, to then come back to play 2 more seasons with the Celtics. Was that regular? Like, to go overseas and play overseas, was that was out of the norm back then?
Yeah, everybody said I was crazy for doing what I did, but what happened was the salary cap situations were a little bit different. And the Boston Celtics, even though I was a first-round pick, at that time it was only 25 teams in the league. They were the 24th pick.
Only 25? Was it an odd number?
25 teams in the league at that time. So they were the most that I could make as the minimum that I could make as a first-round pick was $150,000 in 1988. Everybody else that was in my draft class went from the first picks. Danny Manning was the first pick who was making like $1 million something to everybody to probably down to about $400,000 a year. I only can make $150,000 because the Celtics were, they were paying Larry Bird and Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish and DJ, Danny Ainge. And so that's all the money that was left. So
there wasn't no rookie scaling back then.
Right. So what I was, it was still scaled, but the cap was a little bit more firm in terms of what you could go over. So that was all that was left for me.
Okay.
So instead of signing and getting locked into a 4 or 5 year deal at $150,000 a year, I said, I'm going to sign for 1 year and bet on myself. And then I'll become a restricted free agent at the end of my first year. Now, if I don't end up playing and what have you, then I don't have any leverage, what happened. Now I knew that Dennis Johnson was getting old. And so I ended up starting, I think, 62 games my rookie year. They didn't draft another point guard going into that following year. DJ got hurt, I think ruptured his Achilles. So I had all the leverage in the world.
Right.
Well, Boston came back and offered me a qualifying offer at $225,000 for the following seasons. I think a 4-year deal for $225,000 a year, which I was like, I'm still going to be under everybody that was in my draft class, even David Rivers, who was drafted after me by the Lakers with the 25th pick. So Danny Ferry had just gotten drafted by the Clippers, didn't want to come play for the Clippers. So David Falk, who was his agent, signed him to go play with this team in Italy, Il Messaggero. At that time, only the players who had ended their NBA careers towards the end that wanted to make a little bit more money would go over to Europe and play. Or guys that just weren't good enough for the NBA. So at the time, Bob McAdoo was the highest paid player over there, making about $400,000 a year. They gave Danny Ferry $2 million to play over there, and they called and they offered me $1 million to come play for 1 season. And it ain't hard to do the math.
Right.
Shit, I could pay 4 years, $225,000 a year to make $1 million, or or close to it, or whatever, and then or play 1 year and make $1 million.
Yeah.
And look, I grew up in Oakland on the West Coast, so I wasn't no Celtic fan. So I was like, fuck the Celtics. I'm going to get this $1 million. I'm going to play 30, 35 games maybe in the year. So
way sweeter deal.
I gave them 48 hours to give me a better offer. I'm dealing with Red Auerbach and Jan Volk. Jan Volk was the general manager. Red Auerbach was the president of the Celtics. They thought I was bullshitting. 48 hours came. They didn't make me a better offer. The team from Italy faxed me a contract. I signed the contract, faxed it back. The news came out, and then Red Auerbach called me and said, "What are you doing? We'll give you what you want. Tear up the contract." I said, "It's too late now. I signed my contract. I got to go."
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up over there. Had a great year over there playing. And by the end of the season, the team had told me that they were going to tear up my contract and pay me $3 million a year, which nobody in the NBA at that time was even making $2 million a year.
Hey.
So I said, shit, okay, I'm going to stay over here and play some more.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, the problem was halfway through the season, Jan Volk flew from Boston to Italy, to Rome, and we met in a limo. And I signed a contract to go back to Boston. It's starting out at $1.1 million a year going forward. And I had fired my agent, so I'm thinking I'm smart. I can, it looks like a standard contract and everything. Well, it had one little clause in it that said that between the month of June 20th to July 20th, I had to rescind my contract with the Italian team and honor the contract that I just signed in this limo with the Celtics. So I didn't see that clause.
Yeah.
So when the season ended and the Italian team offered me 3 times more money, I wrote a letter to the Celtics and said, when I signed this contract, I didn't have, I wasn't under the advisement of a lawyer, an agent, and I'm deciding to honor my second year to come back to Italy and play. And then they were like, "Nah, you signed. We got a contract with you." So they took me to court. So it was the Boston Celtics, the NBA, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts versus Brian Shaw, which was a big court case at the time, and that's ultimately what landed me back with the Celtics.
With the Celtics. You had to have been hot.
That's crazy.
I was and I wasn't. Yeah. I mean, because I ended up getting the money that I wanted.
Yeah.
Which I felt like I should have been getting, the whole time anyway. And I had to take a lot of heat. When I got back to Boston, everybody was like, calling me Benedict Arnold. How the fuck did you leave the Celtics, because of their storied history and this, that, and the other. But I learned real fast it's a business, right? And I had to look out for they didn't give a shit about me when they paid me $150, which was underpaid, and they only offered me a qualifying offer at $225 after that. So this little nigga from Oakland was like, nah, the math ain't mathin', so we gonna do it this way. And then and so when I got back, the whole first month, and statistically for me, that was my best year in the NBA. The year I came back from Italy and played for Boston. But the first month of the season, every time I touched the ball at home in the Boston Garden, the fans booed me. So, I had to go through a whole lot of shit, and then, what kind of city Boston it was and is. And so, so I had to endure a lot, but I wouldn't take anything back. I would do it all over again.
We wanted to take a brief break from the episode to let you know that Prize Picks has got you guys covered when it comes to helping you make some money during the NBA season.
That's right, baby. Prize Picks is helping me cash in. Prize Picks is a daily fantasy app, and with the NBA season in full swing, you can select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and turn $25 into $250. Prize Picks is really easy, simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds, y'all.
It's also that time of the year where many sports are happening at the same time. And of course, Prize Picks allows you to pick combo projections across all different sports. Like basketball, you can even do esports like League of Legends and CS2 Go. So you can support all your favorite teams while still cashing in.
Well, I know for me, I've been cashing in. I don't know about that. I'm talking about Legion of Dooms and all that stuff. But that's a story for another day. Be sure to visit prizepicks.com/podcastp and use code podcastp for a first deposit match up to $100. And y'all already know what time it is.
Cha-ching!